Okay, shalom, y'all. Good to be back again with you. Without going into the gory details, I had a meeting with my doctor today, and she said the operation looks like it was a success. At least that's how it feels, and she said so also. And then she said, "Okay, now you have to go and do a cardio test. What is it called? A stress test to see how the machine works with my body and everything." So now we're going to wait for a stress test and then echo stress test. That's what it is. And I think she said to me that I'm going to do a blood test tomorrow. And then if she says you're still too high, looks like I'll between the echo test, which is a week or two till they receive me, and the blood test, I may have to spend a few more weeks here. So I don't know. I have no idea. I can't plan anything. And I just woke up from a nap, and I could swear there were missiles, being shot down above us. And I went over to my wife and said, "Did you hear missiles?" She said, "No, nothing." So I suppose I'm a little paranoid about the missiles, but Israel is receiving a tremendous express packages from the U.S. Air Force. I think we are getting ready for the big shebang. Even though there are negotiations with Iran, I think it's all a bluff. So I think that President Trump is getting ready. We're getting ready. And meanwhile, I'm here in Israel, still in my home. I have some good news. I don't know. The printing press that did my books in the past, my 7 books, which were self-published, the business shut down, but there was a gentleman there who said, "I'm taking it over." And then that was like 5 years ago. And I wrote him an email or two. He never responded. I thought, well, the business, it went out of business. So anyway, 2 days ago, I was going through old emails, and I saw an email. I said, "Oh, what the heck? I'll send him an email." And he said, "No, we're still in business, and we're looking for more business." And so he's in Taylor, South Carolina, which is, like near. How do I explain it? No, it's not Greensboro. Greensboro is North Carolina. Anyway, so he said, when you're in the East Coast area, if you can, come by, we will rendezvous. And I said to him, I think I'm going to have 2 books for you, because I think especially if I'm stuck here for a month at least, I'm going to do the Lepanto Armageddon book, which is, I think, going to be the most important of all my books, together with the Bible Block Party update books. So it may be that I'll be coming back to the States whenever, in a few weeks, and then work my way up from Florida to Taylor, South Carolina. And God willing, I'll be having 2 more books. So instead of shutting down, I see I have more work to do. And but I am happy that the operation is behind me. The doctor looked very pleased. My wife has been fastidiously dressing the wound. The wound dried up. It got better where they did the incision. And so we're here now, and we're waiting to see also what happens with Iran, what happens with Gaza. There are so many rumors floating in the air about another ceasefire with Gaza. But Israel has already reached 45% of Gaza being conquered by Israel. And that, we definitely hear the bombs going off in our house here in Kedar, bombs going off in Gaza. So we're waiting patiently to see where this is all going. We're also patiently waiting to see when Ronen Bar will finally leave his office and go home. An interesting point, we had a tragic lost with 10 kids 7 years ago who went on a hike in the desert, and there were warnings that there would be flooding. And the two directors of the school said, "Oh, it's nothing." And 10 kids died. So these two directors of the school got 7 years in jail. It was just announced today. 7 years in jail for 10 kids dying. So what do we say about 1,200 kids at the Nova party on October 7th? And everybody is talking now openly about secrets that Ronen Bar is guilty of. We know what they are, but we can't say them yet. And I have things I could say. I don't want to say them because it's not, I don't know yet if it's true. But things that involve betrayal of the country, treason. So Israel still is close to a civil war. The left does not want to give in. Netanyahu is playing his cards very, very close to chest, very carefully. I'm optimistic. I'm pretty sure that the good guys win. Lebanon is beginning to clamp down on the Hezbollah terrorists. That also potentially is good news. So we are waiting to see. Syria, as you all probably know, it has been taken over by Turkish-backed ISIS, and they're killing Shiites. They're killing Christians. Nobody touches the Druze because they are considered part of Israel now. And the Kurdish also are semi-protected by us. So all I can say is we look back a year and a half ago, one of the darkest periods in our history. And Gaza has been taken out primarily. Lebanon has been taken out. Syria has had change in regimes, which is good and bad because Sunnis are no better than the Shiites. America is socking it to the Houthis in Yemen. So we're waiting to see where all of this is going. There is this airlift of American-produced war material flying into Israel every day. All the weapons that Biden had embargoed, we're getting them, and we're getting new things also now. So we are all very anxious, all very expecting regarding what is about to be. I know you all are praying for Israel, and keep praying because God has many, many miracles yet in store for us, and we're expecting good things very soon. I have more I could say, but I think it would be nice if there are people with questions. Usually when you have questions, a short question leads to 15 minutes of talking on my part. So I want to know what you are interested in. So fire away. I know Lori always has questions.
I have questions.
Yes, dear.
I'm just curious what the general public feel is toward having Mike Huckabee as the ambassador as a Christian, since he's a very outspoken Christian. And if there's different sects of the society that have, I'm sure, different feelings. So that's my question.
Well, that's an easy question to answer. The Israeli Jewish population welcomes Huckabee. He has a track record of being pro-Israel, so of course Israel loves him. As for what particular type of Christian he is, I don't think it makes a difference here in Israel, because in Israel nobody really cares or knows anything about the different Christian churches and groups and believers, and all we know is that you guys, or as they say in the South, y'alls, are not our best friends. Y'alls are our only friends. And every time there's a news item of interest, the news announcers here in Israel say, rhetorically, they say, can you imagine if the Democrats had won the election, if Kamala Harris was president? It would have been the worst possible nightmare in modern Israeli history. And so we're very happy with Trump. We're very happy with, we know that Trump is trying to strike deals with other countries in Europe and in Israel. I think we brought it down to 14% tariffs with Israel. But listen, a strong America, a Christian America, is exactly what Israel needs. And we are not looking for some, I don't want to use bad words, but for Democrats who hate God, hate Israel, hate Judaism, we are looking for people who love God, love Christ. Because when you guys love Christ, you love Israel, you love the Bible, you love everything we love. So Huckabee is, I would say, has been received 100% by the Israeli population. I'll say something negative. On the other hand, I'm trying to create a Judeo-Christian Bible bloc party, and here in Israel, nobody wants to hear about it, except for a few hundred Messianics. So it will be interesting to see when the elections are finally declared in a year from now, what success we will have. And maybe with my Israel Bible Block update book and with the Lepanto Turkey book, I may have more success in the next election. And what I do see is that if you look at the ladder, at the list of all of the parties, we're going up. I mean, but 400 votes is nothing still. So if we go up to 500 or 600 votes, that's already a victory because we're not 400, but we're a few hundred more. But there are parties that have received 1,000 votes, 2,000 votes. They are not in the Knesset. It'll be interesting to see if these parties still exist because a lot of people just give up. And whenever I go to the Knesset, the ladies there in the office say, "Oh, are you still around? You didn't give up?" I said, "No, why should I give up? I'm breathing. Why should I give up?" So at this point, what interests me is getting these two books out, published in English, raising money by doing that, and then bringing the money back to Israel to be used for gathering votes in 5 languages. Because don't forget, we have Hebrew, English, Arabic, Russian, and Amharic, Ethiopian. So we're trying to, it's not easy to campaign in Israel. You have to have people from the different ethnic groups doing the campaigning. But Israel is a unique country. It's a small country. It's a unique country. The Russian Christians, Russian-speaking Christians and Messianics alone are 400,000. So if I need 150,000 to get into the Knesset with my first 4 candidates, theoretically I could stop wasting money on other languages and just concentrate on Russian. But I think the Russian group is the hardest group of all of them. I don't know if I told you, but Russians do not like getting involved in politics. Russian believers do not like sticking out like a sore thumb and coming under the persecution of the rabbis. And even myself, even within my own family, there are people who are not excited about Christians getting into the Knesset. So listen, I'm doing what God has commanded me to do and what I want to do. I want to do this. And but there are steps that I have to do to attain the funds for doing the publicity in 5 languages. What I can do, even without any money, is get onto TV, because I've been on TV many times in Hebrew and English. And so now what we have to see is how many votes we will get from that. And if we have more money, then we'll go up from 400 to 600 to 1,000 to 2,000, maybe more votes. And maybe we have a miracle. Maybe some very powerful people will join us. The problem is, even within the Christian population, which is so diverse here in Israel, there are many different types of Christians that hate other Christians. There are those who hate the Messianics. There are Messianics who hate the mainline churches. And we have to be able to attract people from all different backgrounds, bring them into the party. And of course, the party is not a Christian party. The party is a Jewish party, but it is a partnership party with our Christian brethren and citizens. I'm very excited. I know for sure we're going to succeed. It's just the question is how and when. But anyway, Lori, getting back to your question, Huckabee is a hero for us. Trump is a hero for us. We'll have to see where this is all going. There is, of course, a problem today in the American politics with the activists who want to attack Iran and the libertarians who do not want war under any circumstances. So they are not necessarily pro-Israel. They are pro-America. Israel is pro-America, they're pro-Israel. But the question of will Israel go to war with Iran is something that I think will probably be decided by Trump and his more activist backers in the government. So we shall see. Did I answer your question?
Yes, he had just on one interview, he had expressed concern about that, about being accepted as an outspoken Christian. So I was curious.
Well, America is not yet a Jewish country. We barely have one Jewish country, Israel. America is a Christian country. And everywhere I go, in all the churches in which I speak, I say Israel needs a Christian revival in America. Because if Christians follow the Bible, they're going to have to love Israel. Also, I say to the churches, if you don't love Christ, you don't love the Jews. I don't know. Am I saying things which are wrong?
What was that? Are you saying what?
No, I'm saying anyone who calls himself or herself a Christian but doesn't love the Jews or doesn't love Israel isn't a Christian.
You're absolutely right, Avi.
That's true.
Yep.
So listen, the problem here is that America was created 400 years ago as pretty much, 1620 pilgrims. We're talking about 500 years ago, who were Christians, who loved the Bible, who loved Israel, loved the Jewish people, loved Christ. William Penn, who created Pennsylvania, wanted the language of instruction in the schools to be in Hebrew. So there are many people going way back who were definitely pro-Jewish, pro-Israel. And you go back to 1648 at New Amsterdam, you had a big Jewish population there, mostly Dutch or Spanish who went to Holland. So we have a very long history. But Israel itself is a very new country. It's 70 years old, 70 something years old. And the whole idea of Jews and Christians in one political party in Israel working together, this is a revolution. And most people don't believe in revolutions. People like the old style parties where they represent their constituencies. There are churches that said to me in America, you need to leave Israel, come back to America, and form a Judeo-Christian party in America. How's that? But I think if we are all waiting for the Messiah here on the Mount of Olives, it has to be, we have to have a Judeo-Christian party, a unity party, a love party in which Jews and Christians are together. So of course I would be number one, loving this new ambassador of ours. So that could be. Any more questions?
Speaking of music festivals, are you familiar with Coachella, Avi?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
I'm not like completely familiar with it. I just know it's a huge music festival in California, and I believe what they did, or what was noted was they posted in the middle of their music festival like free Palestine, Israel's committing genocide. I'm sorry, not genocide, genocide, and just the parallelism to projecting that image on the biggest board ever at a music festival, I just thought was horrific. And I didn't know if you knew about that.
No, actually, Israel is very much like the United States. In which way? In America knows virtually nothing about anything going on outside of America.
Exactly.
When I go to the churches, I explain to them many things that are happening in the world that Christians need to know. I wish I could say things that Jews need to know, but the Jews don't want to hear anything I'm saying. Because, Jewish people, we know everything. But regarding Israel, this was not, as far as I know, this was not in the news in Israel at all. I don't know if you've read my second book. My second book is called Christian Revival for Israel's Survival, which was written in 1999. And I speak about how the Muslim petrodollars are buying out the universities.
Yeah.
Now, when you buy out the universities, it's only a question of one or two generations that all the universities are pro-Islamic, which they are today, and everyone becomes anti-Israel. And especially because the Jews in America are so ignorant and so uncommitted to Israel or to Zionism or to Judaism. American Jews are very, very much out of the picture. And so our total defense relies on you guys, on Christian supporters of Israel. Do you think here in Israel I can say this? Here in Israel, nobody wants to hear about the Christians. When Lori mentioned Huckabee, well, everybody knows he's pro-Israel, so terrific, we like him. But when you talk about we have to find ways to increase our interdependence between Jews and Christians in Israel and America, then all of a sudden, it's not kosher. This is one of the things that has to be overcome by the Judeo-Christian Bible Bloc Party.
I agree. I definitely
One of the
agree.
reasons I feel so offended is that I'm not really attacked in the media. I'm ignored. And many people know who I am, and they know what I'm doing. Nobody wants to hear about it. I think I mentioned it last week or the week before. I was on a podcast, a very popular podcast by a very right-wing Jew who's not religious. I don't want to mention his name. They're a great man. But when I said that Jews and Christians together are going to make Aliyah as a result of the persecution that's coming to America, he turned off the podcast. He doesn't want to hear the word Christian. 2,000 years of bad blood, it's not so easy to erase. See, but Huckabee is an American Christian. When he finishes his term as ambassador, he goes back to America. And Israel remains here. So many people say, okay, let him go back. But while he's here, he's very popular. I don't know. I'm sorry to say things which might disappoint you, but my whole life is disappointment in that sense.
No. It doesn't disappoint me. Well, I mean, it does, just the whole situation. But I think just the naivety of all those young adults at the festival and then that just being projected. I don't really think they knew the significance of what they were really trying to project. And so, yeah, it is sad, and it trickles down from the universities and just the younger generation. The support for Israel I wish there was more.
Well, also, you have to remember, it's not just the university.
Yes, sir.
Qatar, for example, has brought up a lot of the banks and a lot of the companies, a lot of the media, a lot of politicians. I'll give you an example. Witkoff, the one who's supposedly negotiating with Iran and Big Shot, he went bankrupt. and Qatar gave him $600 million to save him. So he's totally in the pocket of Qatar now. We have Israeli generals, the ones who oppose Netanyahu, the ones who are trying to carry out a coup d'etat against Netanyahu and the right wing. All these generals receive millions of dollars from Qatar. This is treason. Do you think we can do anything about it? So Qatar and a lot of other Arab countries have used all their wealth. Maybe from their perspective, they've used their wealth wisely by bribing the American people. But the same applies to England, same applies to France, Canada. I mean, Canada today is a socialist country becoming Muslim.
It really is.
But don't forget, in 1939, when Jews wanted to escape Nazi Europe and come to Canada, Mackenzie King, who was the Prime Minister of Canada at the time, wouldn't accept any Jews, even children who were on the St. Louis ship. He said, one Jew is one Jew too many. So imagine today, just imagine if Canada had taken in 6 million Jews and saved them from the Holocaust. Canada, I wouldn't say would be rivaling the U.S., but instead of 40 million, they'd be 46 million or more. And Canada would be, I don't have to tell you what happens when you have a lot of Jewish people in the country. Maybe they're not religious, maybe they're not Zionists, but they're very successful in their field. And they would build up Canada, but instead they were murdered by the Nazis. And Mackenzie King of Canada and Franklin Delano Roosevelt had a role to play in that. I don't know. I'm very disappointed because the more history I know, the more disappointed I get.
I understand. Thank you for sharing that, Avi. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You know what? You guys are my psychiatrists. I can pour my heart out to you, cry on your shoulder. Here in Israel, nobody wants to hear what I'm saying.
Hi, Avi.
Hi, how are you? Good to hear from, not from New Jersey, from Jersey.
New Jersey.
Jersey.
Avi, I've been monitoring the Turkish news, and I mean, all you see on their diplomacy is how Turkey is strengthening in its tentacles into lots of different nations, Algeria, Indonesia, Somalia, and I mean, last month, Marco Rubio, met with the foreign minister of Turkey, Hakan Fidan, and Turkey are pushing the US because they want some of the sanctions removed that Turkey is under. From what I can see that Turkey is up to, it's wanting to acquire fighter jets. And it's also been speaking to France, Italy, and Britain, who seem quite involved. But Germany has vetoed a deal for them to get these fighter jets. So how naive do you think the US administration is in regards to Turkey removing sanctions?
If you're looking at the narrow security perspective, the Turks bought from Russia the SS-300 anti-aircraft missiles. And this made the United States very angry. And so NATO as a group, together with the US, refuses to sell Turkey advanced aircraft. But Turkey has advanced aircraft. Turkey has plans. Turkey wants to do things.
Yeah.
I think President Trump has a good fortune that his top advisors are Christian. They know history. Even somebody like Hegseth, that they were saying, he was on Fox News. I mean, to be on Fox News, you have to know your politics, your geopolitics. You have to know these things. So I think Trump is surrounded by very, very good advisors and ministers. I'm changing the subject, but this is just a little point here. When I was speaking in Spanish in Brownsville, Texas, on the Mexican border, and I got up in front of a group in Mexico, in Matamoros. You know, the city opposite Brownsville is Matamoros. And I said to these Mexican Christians, you know, in the church, do you guys know what it means, Matamoros? It means kill the Muslims, kill the Moros, the Moroccans. Rubio is from Florida. So, I mean, Cuban Americans don't really know that much about Mexican history. But for those people who know the history, the Spanish history of the Reconquista, the wars against the Moroccans, the Muslims, Rubio has to know that Matamoros means kill the Moroccans, because the Moroccans conquered Spain, Portugal, and France. You know, I'm a stamp collector, and I have a stamp, the Battle of Albuquerque. Now, Albuquerque, we all know it's in New Mexico. I've been in Albuquerque many times. But the Battle of Albuquerque took place in Portugal. And I have a stamp from the battle. The Portuguese post office issued a stamp commemorating the Battle of Albuquerque. So if you know your history, you know that Albuquerque originally is in Portugal. Portugal fought the Reconquista against the Muslims. I'm going to throw another one at you guys. You know, you go to Turkey and you go into their public office buildings, government office buildings. You go into their schools, and there's a map that big, like from wall to wall. And Turkey is colored in red. You know what Turkey is? It's from the Atlantic Ocean, from Morocco, all the way to China. And once Erdogan, I don't know who he said it to, I think he said it to some Jewish guy. He said, you Jews waited 2,000 years. You missed Jerusalem 2,000 years. Well, we missed the Ottoman Empire 100 years. So the Turks want to go back to their empire. And I have news for you. Egypt is part of their empire. The Egyptians are not happy about that. You go all the way to Somalia, you go all the way to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. This was all under the Turks. Xinjiang province in West China. All these Muslims are Turkic Muslims. 200 million Turkic Muslims that broke away from the former Soviet Union. The Turks have their eyes on all of these territories.
Well, it would certainly seem so. If you look at their diplomacy in recent years, they have been working away at extending the tendrils of the octopus, if you like.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, the Turkish imperialist drive is on steroids, and hopefully, in the book that I'm writing on Lepanto, the Battle of Lepanto and Turkey, it talks about how the Turkish fleet was sunk in 1571 by a group of Catholic countries, Spain, Venetia, and Venice, and Genoa. 3 Catholic navies sunk the entire Turkish fleet, and were forced to rebuild the fleet for the Turks because the Turks were just so angry. I think the Israeli Navy is going to sink the whole Turkish fleet, and that's going to spark the Armageddon War. If you have hundreds of millions, 300, 400 million Turkic Muslims, 300, 400 million. Indonesia is not Turkic, but they've got 200 million Muslims. There will be volunteers coming from all over the world to Istanbul to join the army to conquer Israel. I mean, what we're facing now is a collection of minor miracles. The Armageddon War is not a minor miracle. This is going to be a tremendous war. It's not going to be an easy war. And I think it'll be while I'm still alive, while we're all here. That's
Mm,
why I'm writing the book, God willing.
yeah. Well, I think they're looking to Indonesia regarding acquiring uh, military jets or something.
You know, I have to
Well,
tell you something. I'm changing the subject, but all of these things are intertwined. I don't know if you know this. This was in the Israeli news yesterday. The Egyptian army and air force, which is totally massed on the Israeli border,
yeah.
uh, is now participating in war games with China. Have you heard about that?
Yes, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
you're a special lady.
I read it. I,
uh,
I have to watch China and Egypt at the moment. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
our country is so small that Egypt, together with China, could overrun Israel.
mm,
And the only thing that would save us is I would say B-52. The American Air
mm.
Force blasting the heck out of the entire Chinese and Egyptian military. I mean, the Egyptians owe America so much. They owe President Trump, they owe Biden, they owe everybody in America. And yet they are working to destroy Israel. The Egyptians are crazy.
Yeah. Well, the, they're going to annoy Trump by cozying up to Egypt and doing these things because of the tariffs and various other things
By the way,
they're
I
not
love the
happy about.
Chinese. I love Chinese food. I love the Chinese. How would we survive without Chinese food?
Oh, I don't like it.
But, but
Not for me.
China's a problem. Um, um, One of the interesting things, uh, Laura, to everyone. No. I didn't say that Egypt was attacking China. I was saying that China and Egypt together were carrying out military maneuvers on the Israeli border,
Yes.
and that the Chinese were going to help Egypt to invade Israel. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Oh, yes, I
Uh,
understood that. Yeah.
and one of the crazy things is that the Turks and the Chinese hate each other. I'm changing the subject, but I'm getting now every day. I'm getting emails, not from Rajiv Das, my Hindu friend. I'm getting emails from official sources that the Turks, the Pakis, Pakistanis, and the fanatic Islamic Bangladesh government now, which was brought to power by the US by Biden. These three countries are working to overthrow India.
Mm,
They're killing Hindus in India.
mm, yeah.
Uh, they are killing Buddhists in Burma and Myanmar. The Muslims are trying to destroy the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Jews, the Christians. Uh, so when Turkey says they want to join the European Union, which would give them overnight majority of Europe, Europe would be an Islamic continent. So I think the Europeans are beginning to say, hey, wait a second, we really do not want this.
Yeah.
So I think at some stage we're going to see the Europeans having a backlash against the Islamic attempts to take over Europe, especially England and France and Germany. These three countries are most affected by Islamic takeover plans.
Sweden is most affected.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Thank you,
So,
Avi.
I'm hoping very much to be able to get out the if my doctor says to me you're not going anywhere for another month till you get your sugar down. I mean, I'm working to get my sugar down. I feel marvelous. It's just I can't eat anything I like. But I have a notorious sweet tooth. But if that book is ready and printed by the time I get to the States, that'll be a very big input into my work on the parties.
Yeah.
So I think Pastor Glenn asked me about Here's to Ali. I know about her. I've never met her, but she's a very heroic former Muslim lady who deserves a lot of support, a lot of attention from all of us. there was another, somebody asked me a question. I don't remember what it was. I see these little blips popping up in front of me, but I can't answer when I'm in the middle of a subject. So if I didn't answer anyone's question, blip me again, and I'll answer it. But we're watching the Chinese. Interestingly, Russia has kind of pulled back from its support on Iran. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the U.S. and Iran. It could be the Chinese are in Iran also. The Chinese are really throwing their weight around. I think it's, again, it's one of the reasons why it's a win-or-win for everyone if the Palestinian Gazans go to Indonesia. Indonesia needs the population. They need to rebuild Jakarta, get it ready because it's sinking into the sea. And we've got to, I don't say we've got to get, I mean, because Indonesia does not like Israel. But Indonesia may join the Abraham Accords. So again, these are all win-win strategic things. We'll have to see where it all goes. But again, I have to emphasize, it was announced today, Israel controls 45% of Gaza, totally occupied. Laura, regarding information about mosques in the U.S., are they preparing to attack America? I would say very possibly not just yet, but pretty soon, yes. Neil, you have a question about Ronen Bar. All I can say, he's part of the deep state, and it's not only he who is obstinate about not leaving the Secret Service, but he has a private militia, a private army of tens of thousands of soldiers, and he could easily try to overthrow Netanyahu if he wanted to, but that would lead to a civil war. And they would lose, because the 70%, 80% of the population is anti-one world government. So I hope I answered your question, Neil.
Yes, thank you, Avi. I appreciate that.
I always appreciate your interventions.
Avi, we saw in well, not the mainstream news, but in news channels we follow, we saw that Benjamin Netanyahu was going to make a big statement at the end of Shabbat, and this past Shabbat, and then it looked like the statement was basically, "We're not going anywhere. We're not compromising. Stay tuned," and it seemed like it was leading to something else. So, number one, was it a big statement, or was that just, some of these news channels trying to hype things up? And number two, what was it all about? Because it didn't seem like there was much there.
Well, firstly, his speeches are squelched by the deep state media in Israel. And in America, things are squelched by the Israeli deep state. The American media doesn't really show any interest in it. But I saw the full speech. And Netanyahu said, we're going to sock it to Gaza. We see that there's no dice regarding our hostages being returned to us. So today they went in big time, yesterday and today, bombing the heck out of Gaza. And now we're hearing that there's a new deal on the table for hostages. So whenever they get kicked hard enough, the Gaza people, the Gaza leadership wants to discuss hostages again. Then they say, no, we don't want to discuss hostages. So I think really the only solution is for a total military victory. If we lose 59 hostages, 24 are alive. It's horrible to lose 24 alive Jewish kids. But this thing with Gaza, if we don't wipe out the Hamas terrorists completely, in another 10 years, they will be back and they will attack our communities. They will kidnap our people. This thing will never end until the Gaza situation is solved. And so President Trump, in his great wisdom, and I don't say this, mockingly, his great wisdom is get all the Gaza Arabs out, send them to Indonesia, send them to any country, and turn Gaza into a Riviera type, Singapore type prosperous Garden of Eden. Trump is right. I hate to say it. I have a sister who hates him. I say Trump is right every time. You're wrong every time. So my sister really doesn't talk to me anymore. I love my sister. I wish we could talk, but she gets furious every time she hears Trump. So basically, the only thing I can say to my sister is happy birthday, and she says to me happy birthday, and then what wine do we drink? And that's it. Nothing else we talk about.
So speaking of people leaving Gaza, we've seen some reports of, again, not on mainstream media, on Telegram channels and such, of that there is sort of an exodus happening quietly of volunteers, of people leaving if they have a relative in another country, or that and that the campaign's getting a little bit more intense with Israel dropping leaflets and such saying like now's a good time for you to leave, and that people actually really are leaving Gaza. Is that true?
Right. It must be remembered that since the beginning of the war, 50,000 have left. Now, 50,000 is nothing out of 1.5 million or 2 million. But what I've been hearing is that the Egyptians owe America, and the Egyptians have to take in 50,000. I have to sneeze. That's very bothering. 50,000 to 100,000 Gaza Arabs can easily be temporarily settled in Sinai, in Egypt. We'll see. We'll see where it all goes. But they can't stay in Gaza, because if they stay in Gaza, then Hamas continues to be strong, even though it's been very weakened. Hamas, they will kill Americans, they will kill Israelis, they'll kill Christians. By the way, the entire Christian population of Gaza has left. So that's about 5,000 Christian Gazans, they left. But I think what we will see very soon is not 50,000, we'll see another 50,000 leaving. So if we can keep this up, it'll eventually be 100,000, 200,000 leaving, going to different countries. There are countries which are empty. There are countries which are Muslim, and they're empty. And you have to remember, a lot of these Gaza Palestinians worked in Israel. They have a lot of work experience as construction workers or whatever. And I don't want to say they should just leave, but the best thing for everyone is that they should just leave. They're not going to be happy in Gaza. And we're not going to be happy if they're in Gaza.
There's also reports of new recruits to Hamas, like something like 30,000 new recruits to Hamas. Are they growing in numbers like that?
Well, the population of Gaza reproduces every year about 30 to 50,000 people. So if we took out 20, 30,000 in the last year and a half, they easily replenish that with new volunteers. But the hardcore military commanders of Gaza are dead. So they're bringing in 16-year-olds. So, you know, I don't want to say that they're succeeding, but the major problem would be if we left them alone, if we left them to themselves. Within a year or two or three, those 20, 30,000 children become terrorists. We call this in Israel mowing the lawn. The lawn has to be mowed. But the problem is that it grows back very quickly. These terrorists come back with a vengeance. So all these people have to be sent away. In Indonesia, they won't do any of this crazy stuff. They'll be in a Muslim country, Sunni Muslim. They'll have plenty of work. Laura, and they have 24 children with each wife. You know what? We have that problem in the Negev, in our desert, that the Israeli Bedouin, and many of whom are good people, they follow the Sharia law. They get 4 wives. They have 12 kids per family. So some guys become parents to 50 children. And some of them become terrorists. So there is discussion in the Knesset about limiting marriages to monogamous, only one wife. When I'm in the churches, I always say, I can't understand 4 wives. I can't understand Rachel. That's one wife. 4 wives would be impossible. And 72 virgins would be hell. So I have a sense of humor. What can I say? Rachel gets very angry with me when I say I can't understand Rachel. I don't have to understand Rachel. I just do what she says, and I'm okay. I know you guys are muted, so nobody's laughing. I don't know if anything I'm saying is funny, but
Good boy. Do as you're told. I'm laughing in the background.
yeah. No, in the background, Rachel doesn't tell me what to do. She just looks at me, and I know what I have to do. We can only hope they have 1,000 wives in hell. Okay, well, I'm telling you, 4 is hell, and 72 virgins is super hell. I don't wish any more on them than that, so let me tell you. Maybe that's why they become terrorists.
Avi, can you update us on Lebanon? It just seems to keep going and going and going.
A very good point. Very good point. Again, you have to remember there are 4 ethnic groups in Lebanon. One of them is Shiite. The Shiites are about half the population. And the Christians, the Druze, and the Sunnis have had enough. The problem is they could never do anything about it. Only when Israel came in, and Israel actually did a very good job in Beirut and in other places with the Shiite Hezbollah terrorists. But what has happened is that they are now reconstituting themselves, and it may be that Israel will have to go back into Lebanon again. What did we say? We said we want the terrorists north of the Litani River. We didn't go to the Litani River, only in one spot. If we take the entire southern part of Lebanon, Litani, then there'll be no more Hezbollah, because Hezbollah will only be in Beirut. Let them be in Beirut. Let the Druze and the Christians and the Sunnis take care of them. But now that they're coming back to the border area again with Iranian financing, with Iranian help, it looks like under the circumstances, we did not do enough. And that was because President Biden was saying don't. So we pulled back. So now we're going to have to go back in again. We Jews never learn. We do exactly as we're told by the American government. I think President Trump also is fed up with it. I think President Trump wants Israel to finish the job. President Trump wanted us to finish the job in Gaza. Who would have ever believed that Bashar Assad and his government would be overthrown by the Sunnis backed by the Turks? So when Sunnis are killing Shiites and Shiites are killing Sunnis, the saying here in Israel, we wish both sides success. Because in the end, they all come after us. The good thing, one of the good things as a result of this last year and a half, is that the Druze in Lebanon, the Druze in Syria, the Druze in Israel are coming together very much almost as Israeli. And so the Druze are something special. The Kurdish nation is little by little mobilizing to get its independence. The Christians are in Damascus. By the way, Israel controls from the Israeli border up to Damascus. The Turks cannot come in. Turks are more to the north of Tadmor and Idlib and Homs and Hama. We're watching very closely what the Turks are doing, because these people are just as bad as the Shiites, as the Hezbollah. I don't know if you hear my canary, but when they hear me speaking, they think I'm singing. I see, Laura, what you said about children, and that is indeed a problem. You know, I could never understand that the young child in New York going to Hebrew school and Hebrew classes, where it said kill the children also. It says in the Bible, kill the children. Doesn't that sound terrible? But when you look at the children of Gaza, they're terrorists. There are no innocent Gazans. Amalek, they were all terrorists. There were no innocent children. And so God knew what he was talking about. Terrible thing to say, but that's the reality of the Muslim children here. By the way, I want you to know how happy I am to do these Zooms with you guys. I love to share when I know something, or I think I know something. I love to share. And if I'm wrong, you correct me. But as long as I'm right, it makes me very happy to always share with all of you. And one day I'll be back in the States. Who knows when?
Angela will have to meet you here.
Yeah, well, you know what? Angela hosted me on the island of Jersey, and it's like a little piece of France in the UK. And I enjoyed my time in Jersey very much. There's a synagogue there. I went to the synagogue there. And Laura's asking, what about my book on the footprints of God in Israel? The footprints is Aaron's domain. I'm trying to get Aaron to write a book, but actually, he doesn't have to write a book, because Professor Zartal wrote a book about the footprints. And I think my son translated it, or had it translated into English. So you can write to aaron@lipkintours.com and find out from him what books he has in English. Aaron@Lipkin Tours. Oh, I have to tell you a little piece of news. Aaron's second son, his younger son, Dror, went into the Army yesterday. He was in the Air Force training school, and now he's in the Air Force in basic training. And it's like ROTC, and then you'll serve his 2 years, 3 years in the Israeli Air Force. So we're very proud. And my granddaughter, daughter of Yaakov, received her first lieutenant. It's 2 bars here. So my granddaughter, I'm very proud of her also. And my son Aaron is going to be receiving a citation for excellence from the Army on Sunday, the 27th, which is a few days from now. And so Rachel and I will be there. And what we'll try to do is get some nice pictures and send them out to Lori, and Lori will get them out to the rest of you. So I'm very proud of my 50-year-old son that receives a citation for his military service. Okay, I saw something. He's going to visit Israel, and his son. Anyway, if they're interested, have them contact me. I'll be glad to meet with anyone coming to Israel. Oh, good, Laura.
Avi, do you want to give your email address for people who watch this on YouTube and may not know how to get in touch with you?
Okay, well, firstly, to remind everyone, this is being posted on Avi Lipkin YouTubes, and I think I have hundreds of YouTubes now, so people can go to Avi Lipkin YouTubes. My email is Biblical Alliance. No, that's my website, www.biblicalalliance.com. And my email is vicmord, VICMORD 2001 at yahoo.com. I will repeat that. VIC like Victor, VICMORD like Mordecai, vicmord 2001 at yahoo.com. And I always make an attempt, usually successful, to respond to emails that come in. And people can go to my website and write to me through the website also. And I'm happy to be alive and happy to be doing these Zooms every week. And for those of you who are in Texas, I hope to be in Texas pretty soon. As for donating to Christian organizations, there are so many. I don't know which one to tell you. I would need an hour. But there are good Christian ministries in Israel also.
Is that a wrap for today?
I think so. If there are no more questions, we will gladly continue next week.